Imagine driving an EV in Shenzhen. You pull into a station, plug in, walk inside to pay for a coffee, and by the time you come back out, your car has added around 400 kilometers of range. This is not concept art. This is already being demonstrated on real cars, with real hardware, in China. Today, we are going deep into the technology behind China's so-called 5-minute EV charging, how the batteries work, how the megawatt chargers work, what it does to the grid, and whether this is hype or the beginning of a global game changer. For many drivers, the biggest fear about EVs is not running out of range. It's getting stuck at a charger for too long. People compare 3 to 5 minutes at a petrol pump versus 30 to 40 minutes at a fast charger. Even if, in reality, most charging happens at home overnight, that mental picture keeps a lot of people from switching. China's 5-minute story directly attacks this psychological barrier. It promises petrol-like refueling times for long trips. It makes EVs feel like a direct, one-for-one substitute for combustion cars on convenience. In 2025, BYD unveiled a megawatt-class charging system for models like the Han L and Tang L. On a 1,000-kilowatt charger, BYD demonstrated adding roughly 400 kilometers of range in about 5 minutes, going from low single-digit state of charge to around 50%. Key ingredients: a high-voltage platform approaching 1,000 volts, so power can be high without insane current. Dual DC plugs and liquid-cooled cables delivering up to around 1,000 amperes. Advanced battery thermal management to keep the pack in the optimal temperature window. CATL's Shenzhen battery, announced in 2023, is the backbone of much of this story. Shenzhen is marketed as the world's first 4C super-fast charging LFP battery, capable of adding roughly 400 kilometers of range in about 10 minutes and supporting over 700 kilometers total range in some configurations. By 2025, CATL introduced a second-generation Shenzhen platform, with some variants targeting even higher C rates, up to 12C in specific conditions, meaning very large chunks of usable range in only a few minutes of charging. C rate describes how fast you charge relative to a battery's capacity. 1C, full charge in 1 hour. 2C, 30 minutes. 4C, 15 minutes. 6C, 10 minutes. Traditional EV packs are often kept below roughly 1 to 1.5C sustained charging for most of their life to protect longevity. China's new fast charge optimized LFP packs are designed to handle 4C to 6C charging in a particular state of charge window. When you see 400 kilometers in 5 minutes, it typically means starting from low SOC, charging up to maybe 50 to 60%, pack pre-warmed or cooled to the optimal temperature, connected to a high-power, dedicated charger that isn't sharing capacity. The first half of the battery fills fast. The last 20 to 30% always slows down to protect the cells. So 5 minutes equals a very fast partial refill, not an empty to full miracle. But for highway driving, partial refills every few hundred kilometers are exactly what matters. Lithium iron phosphate chemistry is crucial here. Advantages for ultra-fast charging: more stable crystal structure, lower risk of thermal runaway, typically longer cycle life compared with many high-nickel chemistries, tolerates high charge rates better when designed specifically for that purpose. China has aggressively optimized LFP, high surface area particles to speed lithium diffusion, sophisticated electrode designs, and electrolyte additives to minimize lithium plating at high currents, advanced cooling channels, and pack designs to keep temperature uniform. The trade-off is that these design choices can increase cost or reduce energy density slightly, but they enable much higher C rates without catastrophic degradation. Even with all these optimizations, ultra-fast charging is still tougher on the cells. Studies and early real-world data show frequent fast charging tends to accelerate capacity loss compared with mostly slow charging. Heavy use of extreme charging, close to theoretical C rate limits, can cut practical cycle life by on the order of tens of percent if not managed properly. That's why automakers stress that these 5-minute capabilities are for occasional use. Long trips, taxis, commercial fleets, not every single charge. Power is voltage times current. To get to megawatt-class charging, you can raise current, but cables become massive and losses skyrocket. Or you raise voltage, which allows high power with manageable current. China's new platforms, like BYD's high-voltage architecture and other 800 to 1000 volt systems, follow the second approach. Megawatt-class chargers require high-capacity grid connections or on-site energy storage, liquid-cooled cables and connectors, sophisticated power electronics to convert AC to stable high-voltage DC. In BYD's case, the megawatt system uses dual connectors and thick, cooled cables, pushing up to roughly 1,000 amperes total, while keeping temperatures safe. As of around 2025, China, millions of chargers overall, a fast-growing subset of high-power DC units, and a non-trivial early deployment of megawatt-class systems. Europe, strong 150 to 300 kilowatt deployment on major corridors, but relatively few 800-volt ready, 350 kilowatt plus sites, and only a handful of megawatt pilots. North America, significant fast charging build-out, but still dominated by sub-350 kilowatt hardware, with 800-volt exploitation limited to a small number of stations. 1 megawatt charger is like turning on several hundred homes worth of instantaneous power draw, or a small industrial load. If many cars charge at that power simultaneously, local distribution networks can be stressed. Mitigation strategies include on-site battery storage to buffer peaks, smart charging and queue management, locating ultra-fast hubs near substations or industrial zones that already have strong grid connections. Ultra-fast public charging is significantly more expensive than slow charging because you pay for higher power grid connections and demand charges, costly power electronics, and cooling hardware, more frequent maintenance. So in most countries, the business model likely looks like home/work charging equals cheap baseline. Ultra-fast equals premium service, priced higher, used primarily when time is more valuable than money. In a swap station, the driver pulls in and parks over an automated bay. The machine unbolts the pack, lowers it, slides in a fully charged one, and bolts it back up, often within 3 to 5 minutes. China has more swap stations deployed than any other country, serving taxis, ride-hailing fleets, and private cars for brands that support swapping. Benefits: drivers always get a nearly full battery in a few minutes. The station charges packs slowly off-peak, easing stress on the grid. Batteries can be monitored centrally, rotated, and retired when they degrade. Challenges: standardizing pack form factors across multiple OEMs. High upfront cost to build and stock stations. Aligning ownership models. Does the customer own the battery, lease it, or share a pool? In other words, China is pursuing two parallel 5-minute strategies: electrical fast charging, mechanical fast charging. The hype side: headlines tend to imply full charges in 5 minutes, which is not the normal use case. Frequent extreme fast charging can meaningfully shorten battery life if abused. The grid and economics limit how widely megawatt chargers can be deployed. The game changer side: for highway travel, taxis, and logistics, cutting a stop from 40 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes is transformational. China's early ecosystem, batteries, chargers, swap stations, and policy gives it a powerful strategic advantage in EV tech and standards. 3 Futures 1. Global 5-minute parity high-C rate packs and 800 volts become standard. Ultra-fast corridors spread in Europe, North America, and Asia. 5 to 10-minute highway top-ups are routine. 2. China pulls ahead. China fully normalizes ultra-fast and swap ecosystems. While other regions hesitate on grid and investment, Chinese platforms become the global reference. 3. Niche ultra-fast. Mass slow and steady ultra-fast charging serves fleets and highways. Most drivers stick to slow, cheap charging. Technology trickles out more slowly. China's 5-minute EV charging push shows that what looks impossible on paper can be engineered when you align battery chemistry, power electronics, grid planning, and industrial policy. It is not magic. Physics still apply. Degradation still matters. The grid still matters. But it is also not just hype. The demos are real, the batteries are shipping, and the infrastructure is scaling faster in China than anywhere else. For the energy transition, ultra-fast charging is likely to play a crucial role in making EVs usable for the toughest segments: high-mileage drivers, fleets, and long-distance travel. giving mainstream drivers confidence that refueling an EV can be as convenient as filling a petrol tank, at least when they need it most. Please like and subscribe if you find this video interesting. Leave your comment below. And thanks for watching. I will see you again.